My research focused on a range of countries in sub-Saharan Africa, which is the light green color. It's everything but that dark green strip at the top. About 800 million people. What I learned was that widows are approximately 1 in 4 women in sub-Saharan Africa. Many of them young with young children because of HIV/AIDS and wars and just the hard life of poverty. The culture is very male-dominant. Women are considered property of the man. Traditionally, she's bought with chickens and a cow or whatever it is. The man's property, the man's family basically owns her. And so when the husbands die, the wife is now considered property of that husband's family. She's often taken as another wife by her brother-in-law. And so the women have not had many rights. Often what's happening now is the women are kicked off the husband's land, their land, when the husband dies, and many of them are left destitute. So this is what I heard about, and I researched it for my master's, and then I thought, I want to hear from the widows. Is this really true? Is this really happening? And I found out that it is. There are also widowhood rituals that the widows have to go through, just some hair shaved publicly and some things that are even more humiliating. Mostly this goes on in the villages, but they're the vast majority of sub-Saharan Africa. There's no welfare, safety nets, food stamps, homeless shelters. For widows, the family is supposed to be the safety net. And when the husband's family, when they reject you, that's an incredible shame for the widow, and very few economic options at all. But the subject is neglected of the widows, and that's why I wrote the book. So Ghana, you see on the left side of the country, on the coast, it's called the Gold Coast, was also a slavery coast, heartbreaking slavery forts there. It's long been a safe country, hasn't had recent civil wars like many, but it was the first country in Africa to gain its independence from colonizers. They led the way, and that was in the early 1960s. It's still considered progressive for Africa. The airport's much better than the one in Congo, for example. But there's still many poor and many widows. So let's meet one of those widows. This is Auntie Margaret. Isn't she lovely? Her husband had died 17 years before I met her. He had been a teacher in the School of Mines. And when he died, Auntie Margaret had 4 children, one of whom was a baby. After the funeral, she went for a week to her hometown, and then she came back to live in the home that she had had with her husband. And tradition, strong tradition is now the husband's family is supposed to care for her and her children. In fact, they technically own the children. They're supposed to clothe them, feed them, and pay school fees. But when she came back to her home, ready to walk in, with her 3 children around her and 1 in arms, somebody else was living there. And they said, "Your husband's family has sold everything you own, and this is no longer your home. Get out of here." And Auntie Margaret stood there that day. We wept together when she told me the story. And she wore the same dress for 6 years because her family was dirt poor. They couldn't help her, and it's just considered so shameful if you go back to your home family. But they couldn't help her even if they overcame the shame. She said after 6 years, a friend at church said to her, "You always look so sad, and you always have the same dress on. What is your story?" And so Auntie Margaret told the woman this story, this African woman. And so the woman cut in half what is called traditionally a piece of cloth, and gave half to Auntie Margaret so she could make a second dress. It was a sacrificial gift to give this clothing. So for Auntie Margaret to be given half a piece of cloth was an incredible gift for her. And that's what I called my book. As soon as she said that, I thought, the recordings I have says, that's a great book title. And so it's after Auntie Margaret. The next widow in Ghana I want to tell you about is Faustina. Isn't she lovely? I think she had the most beautiful skin color, a bronzy color I'd ever seen. She's only 31 years old, and she had a boy of 5 and a girl of 8 when I met her, and her husband had only been dead for 4 months. She sells sandals from a basket by the dirty, dusty road. Maybe she makes $1 a day if she's fortunate that day. Her husband's family had told her, "We're coming to take everything you own. That's our right, including your mattress." And she was very fearful they were about to come. She said, "But I have a piece of land." And land in Africa is considered the mother of life. So many people grow their food on their own land to eat. If you're going to eat that night, you grow your food. Gives you a place where you can build a shack and have a place to sleep. Maybe even rent out a little corner of it to somebody else to have a shack. So you have a little cash flow. It's the best economic way to survive, especially for a woman who's not going to be able to go out and compete to get jobs. She said, "I will let my in-laws have everything but the land."